Cummins here, Black Swan Bodywork here in Austin and Chicago, here with my friend Joy. And we're starting now part 3 in this 3-part series of addressing the common ailments that we all share at one time or the other. Low back pain and pain in the head and neck, which can manifest in headaches. So in the previous 2 videos, we addressed the lower body to open up the hips. And then in the second video, we were addressing right onto the lower back and looking at the imbalances of muscular and energetic flow through the lower back. And here in this 3rd part, we're now in a sideline position so that we can more readily address the head and shoulders and the shoulder girdle. The movement of the shoulder girdle and how that affects the muscles that can create headaches. So starting at the head here, I'm just going, after some nice initial contact, I'm just going to use the advantage of my body position to lean in through an extended arm. And you can see here the heel of my hand is going right over the head of the humerus, the upper arm bone. And I'm just letting my body weight shift forward. And you can see that it's starting to stretch here. So this is a good example of using the therapist's body weight to create space in the client. If there's excessive tightness, sometimes I'll place my other hand here for contact and help stabilize the head. In shiatsu, particularly this form of shiatsu, Shoshin shiatsu, we not only incorporate the stretches of Thai massage, but also do acupressure points or subos. And here on the top of the shoulder, there's 2 classic points to help relieve tension in the head and neck. And the first one is gallbladder 21, which is a point right on the highest portion of the trapezius, the upper shoulder muscle. And to find the approximate location, you just measure from the base of the neck out to the shoulder about halfway. And through palpation, you'll feel a little raised mound. And this raised mound is the point, particularly when there's congestion or muscular imbalance or energetic stagnation in the area. So I'm applying thumb pressure right into the point, directing the energy down towards Joy's feet, because we're trying to get movement here where it's stuck down into the body so it can be more incorporated. So a little thumb pressure here. The other point is right off the superior angle of the scapula, the shoulder blade. And there's a muscle that attaches there, the levator scapula, which comes up and attaches to the transverse processes of the 4 cervical vertebrae. So it has a tendency to compress, or it can compress the cervical vertebra, but also it can impinge on the nerve. So it can create a little tension headache that replicates or behind the ear and up into the temple. And I'm just changing my acclimation here and using this portion of my forearm to lean in a little bit to create a little looseness. And here it's a supported position where I can just lean in with my body weight. So I'm just going to move to the back here, and you can see here where I'm going to be working on this upper shoulder muscle, the trapezius. In the sideline position, I can use a pincer grip to come and really grab a hold of that upper trapezius muscle. Roll it back. When the trapezius muscle gets tight, it has a tendency to roll forward. So we're just trying to pull it back to create some space. The advantage of using now the arm as a lever to create some space here is to both of our advantages. So I'm just going to drape her top arm over here so it's nice and supported, and my hand is placed on the top of the shoulder for support so that I can just simply lean back. As you can see, my body weight shifting back to create some nice length here in her neck. You can see that slight come along, her head is following here. So that's a good working sign that there is some tightness here in the neck, because it's not allowing that full lift before it starts engaging. I'm going to use my fingertips here just to work a little soft tissue in the tongue. And my hands are going to support the shoulder girdle here from both the front and the back. And I'm just going to coax that shoulder girdle, Joy's shoulder, into some nice full range of motion to just really stretch those muscles back. A nice stretch. Really always coaxing length into the body. Okay, that feels pretty nice on this side. So I'm going to have Joy turn over to the other side so that I can address the other side of her body. In this instance, I find that it's very effective to have a sense of symmetry when you're working to address both sides. So I'm just starting here with a little compression here. On this side, she had mentioned that she was feeling not only tightness, but some general tightness into the side of the head. So I'm just going to spend a little time doing some compression into the side or the temporal area of the head. This is a big muscle on the side of the head, and when it's tight, it can even add to jaw tightness because it attaches to the top of the jaw here, articulating here. So if it's tight, it'll close that space of the TMJ. So it'll sometimes manifest in clicking or just a general sense of not being able to open your mouth comfortably in a full range or extent. So, and then again, the same application here, extended arm, creating some nice space here in her neck. I can feel a little bit more resistance on this side, so I'm just going to go to a bigger stretch where I'm using the arm as a lever and just coming down a little bit more and leaning back and really getting a nice pull here. And just one more time, if you could take a nice inhale and exhale. Yeah, lovely. So, just in place. Here on this side, I'm also going to add working up underneath the occipital ridge here for the suboccipital muscles and a series of acupressure points that are classically used to quell any of the pain that's associated with headaches or a stiff neck or else a reduced range of motion in just doing the full turning of the head and neck. Working down the side of the neck here, creating some nice looseness. And also, too, with every technique, it's also a form of diagnosis because it gives you so much feedback as far as what you're doing or what you shouldn't do. Sometimes very important what you don't do also. So this shoulder needs a little bit more freeing up. So this technique of allowing the shoulder to go forward, and it presents the lateral border or the vertebral border of the scapula here. And I'm going to take my fingers and come up underneath, and you can see the back of my hand is supported by my legs. So this is another application of fulcrum here. Sinking in there. I'm going to have her inhale, and on the exhale, just by shifting my weight to the side, I really lift that scapula up off of the rib cage. Now the scapula, with all good intentions, has a propensity to get stuck to the back of the rib cage. So I'm just coaxing this a little bit. And when the scapula gets stuck, the range of motion decreases, and it's creating an environment for some physical manifestation of some pain one way or the other. So we really want to look at working on that. That feels pretty nice. Some just general applications, a little variety of technique, because like I said in the first video in this series, that you just can't assume that you're going to do the same thing on each side, because assumption just leads to a certain extent down the road of mindlessness. It's just, you really need to pay attention to what's going on. Okay. So I'm going to ask Joy if, just to finish up this portion here for the neck and shoulders, is to have you turn back into supine, face up. And I'll be able to do a little work on her head and neck. So I'm just going to put your arms down, I think. Thank you. So helpful. I love it. I'm going to come here. And for this, I'm just going to remove the pillow so I can place myself at the head here. And now we're going to use a little bit of our footwork to create some nice openness in the shoulders and neck. So again, nice supported position for both of us, both giver and receiver. And here I'm allowing myself to apply the bottom, the plantar portion of my foot onto her shoulder, and simply by straightening my legs, I'm creating a little compression into her, or maybe more than a little, a lot of compression into the top of her shoulder to help follow up on what we just did in Sideline. So we're building on what we did prior to this. Some nice movement here. Again, starting to get just a little bit more movement, supporting the shoulders with my feet so that I can coax her head up straight, to stretch the posterior cervicals. Very nice. Using feet here just to create a little length in the muscle. To continue that, moving up, slipping my feet in and really opening up the mid-back. And just this position, you can see how it stretches the anterior portion of the neck. It's quite lovely, simply by slipping my feet in and turning them on edge so that it adds support, but also the weight of her body goes through my stacked bones. So it's very relatively comfortable for the therapist, very relaxed position. But that opens her up so well. So you can really start to work on the anterior surface that helps loosen up the neck. And you can feel here a little tightness. So I'm going to go into a full stretch. So I'm just going to take her arms and I'm just going to ask you to inhale and exhale. I'm just going to slide. So here's where we're connecting all the qualities of the work we've shared in these 3 videos. Starting at the lower portion of the body to open up the hips, which in turn open up the lower back. And then when our gait and our posture gets acclimated to more of a sense of homeostasis or alignment, we start to relieve the tension in our head, neck, and shoulders. And here now, my feet going in, connecting the lower back, and then I'm just going to allow them to work right up the back. And then right into the head. So very nice connecting work. And it's just starting to bring the whole session to a sense of conclusion. I'm just going to do just a little comforting rocking of the head and neck, just to see how we've been doing. Nice stretch. I'm hooking my fingers up underneath the occipital ridge again, and so leaning back. Feels a little better. A little pinning and stretching of the scalenes. Quite lovely. And this also gives you opportunity to really look at the head and neck from side to side. That feels good. So I want to thank you for your time and for watching this series of 3 videos, getting a chance to connect with Joy and seeing how these techniques can be very effective in relieving imbalances, physical pain, energetic stagnation. So my name is Randy Cummins with Black Swan Bodywork here in Austin and Chicago. And for myself and Joy and the network, I want to thank you for watching. Take care.